Still cut and stained, standard, haven't replaced it. That means I will put down a strategically placed TMP Alert Owl patch right there. Little eye candy for the KRV with a TMP Elite Shark patch in the upper right. By the way, guys have been complaining there's no t-shirts in the web store. Let me know if you want this one or that one as a possible TMP t-shirt. By the way, we'll see. Can't promise it. Maybe we'll do it. I'm floating some other designs. Me and the boys are talking some really funny graphics for our next t-shirt. We'll see. Anyways, yes, I am still here. The question is, are you? As long as these KRVs are watched, I keep cranking them out. Last batch did okay. Did okay. You know, batch was like, what, 5 KRVs I posted? They did pretty good. Enough to keep me motivated. So here's what I do these days. A little insight. I think you'll find it interesting. Maybe not. About every other month, maybe not that frequently, every third month, I go to the knife manufacturers' websites and I research. What's new? What are they doing? I'm just talking about production blades here. I wasn't impressed in 2014. I said that in multiple KRVs. 2015, I gotta say, about the same. For what I personally like. For what motivates me. Classic, enduring, beautiful knives that will stand the test of time. Both in terms of durability and in design. The good news is there were a couple, and man, they're good. And this is one of them. Welcome to my tabletop review of Spyderco K2 C185, designed by Mr. Farid Malir. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, dude. I do it all the time. If you design 10 more knives this good, I promise you I'll learn how to pronounce your name right. If I didn't. This is a great blade. Really great blade. Here's some more insight. These days in the knife show, here's how acquisition and keeping knives works. Number one for the show. TMP Knife Show. As a cast member, and I would love to have this knife as a cast member. This, by the way, is on loan. These days I'm not buying all the knives. I loan them whenever I can. And then I'll research it, think, you know, how to best spend limited funds. Maybe I buy it, maybe I don't. And that's the point of this little diatribe right here. It's a beautiful knife, though, and for a cast member as a competitive option, it'd be great to roll the K2 and all other KRVs just to put it in guys' minds, and it's interesting to compare and contrast design features. That's the job of a cast member, and you've seen it for years here in the knife show. Number two, reason I keep and first buy blades is I'm personally stoked about them. Yeah, I'm a knife reviewer, gun reviewer, whatevs, but I'm still a knife freak. And a knife has to connect to me really personally nowadays with the experience I have in blades, with the ability to get any blade I want for me to keep it. That's just the way it is. There's a lot of knives I really, really like, but I don't really, really love them. Does that make sense? And if I don't really, really, really love them, and if they can't function as a cast member, they usually get sold. They have to. We don't have room, don't have money to keep them. So buy them. Push them on down the road. A lot of the ones we buy, by the way, are ones that are going to go through a heavy TNR process. So they get abused. Well, not abused, but they get used. Let's see if I got an example for you. So here's one right here. So this is a cast member and a personal knife. Coltsio Recon 1. Like that. I mean, so is that worth less money? I don't know. Usually in our web store, it's not. It's kind of a history of TMP. Guys really dig that and they like it. Okay, so I have to really like it. That's reason number two, to own and keep knives. Number three is Tactical Doodle, my son. He's kind of a knife guy. Carries blades all the time. He likes a wide variety of blades. His tastes are a little bit different than mine, and that's totally cool. But we can sit and discuss blades, he and I, for hours. So number three reason is, hey, my son likes it. He'll inherit it. Now my youngest son, number four reason, last suspect, not into blades. It kind of frustrates me. I'm like, dude, you realize blades are cool, right? And he's like, kind of. He carries a knife, you know, not when he's in school, because it's illegal. But in his personal life, he carries them. He likes them, but he just attaches to a couple blades, and that's what he likes. He doesn't swap them out. And that is another reason why my personal collection has been pared down. I was like, hey, if he's not really into them, I can use this money in a lot better ways. And that's what I've done. Number 5, grandchildren. But at the rate the kids are going, I don't know if I'm ever going to have grandchildren. We'll see. So that's a little insight. And the reason I tell you this is because of this. In preparation for the tabletop, I'm thinking to myself, as I'm studying the blade, looking at it, holding, bonding with it, am I going to buy this knife? Maybe not this exact one, but a Spyderco C185. Maybe at the end of the review, I'll give you a positive answer. You know, I'll tell you this, though. Let's jump right in philosophy of use. As a looker, I think the knife is striking. And like I said, I'm really happy that Spyderco is making large blades. Finally, it's taken them a while, but here we go. They're finally trying to actually take a piece of the pie away from Cold Steel. Let's be totally honest. Cold Steel's been making a lot of money. You're welcome, Cold Steel, because I've sold like thousands of these large blades for you. I love them. They serve a purpose. And other manufacturers are taking note, and they go, oh, those knives are selling. We need to kind of make some money off those, and that's why they're doing it. And good on them. As knife guys, it gives us more options. I think the real role of the K2 is a collectible. It's just a knife guys, you know, put in their collection. It connects to them emotionally. You know, maybe you're emotionally deficient in some other aspects of your life, and the blade does it for you. I know, we're kind of sick, dude. What can I say? But you can get so much enjoyment from a knife collection versus, I don't know, a Ferrari collection. That's a little bit more expensive. Along with collection, I would say, and I've said this before, impress your friend's knife. It's interesting, by the way. I'll do blade checks on you guys, and it's very rare that your knives come out of your pocket and they show a lot of wear. I just don't see it. I don't know. You know, you guys, and it's just the life we live. We're in a modern age. We're not in the 1800s anymore. Castrating sheep, skinning goats, butchering pigs with our knives. I mean, some people do that, but it's not predominant. Come on, let's be real. It's not. And so I think if ever blade check someone and they have a K2, I doubt it's going to have a lot of wear on it. If it does, I would love to know the story how it got there. And I hope it's not made up. I'm a reviewer, so I do a lot of testing, and so my knives get probably more wear than average, but a lot of it's for the show, for testing, so I bring data to the table. That's why. Well, here's a medium Voyager. That's got a little bit of wear on it. That's what I like to see. If I blade check you guys, I want to see your knife a little bit beat up. I like that. It's cool. Collectible, impress your friend's knife. It's kind of like, you know, you're at a shooting range. Hey, dude, what blade you got? And you break out a K2. And it's something different. People like that. Food knife, absolutely. It's flat ground, has a really nice belly on it. You can roll cut with this thing all day long. How about work knife, EDC blade? How about, no? For me. Let's see what my EDC is today. Never made up. It's always organic in the video. Here it comes. Oh yeah, forgot I had this. The 1.8 ounce previous version of the medium Cold Steel Voyager. Hollow ground, OS 8A, wearing my still preferred underclip epoxy, that is JB Weld modification. See, that's got a little bit of wear on it. Oh, I love this knife. It's so comfortable. Perfectly sized for EDC. Let's compare it against the K2. That's what I'm talking about. This is crazy big, dude. Breaking out. Hey, I gotta open a package. I'm only breaking my K2 out. I see some guys doing it, but not a lot. A lot of guys talk about it online. Of course, guys talk about online everything. You know, oh, I do this, I do that. And in reality, they don't do it at all. Imagine that. And then my defensive blade. Microtech, Ultratech, basic black. Love this knife. Oh, we have a Net Fancy Project version of the Ultratech. It's highly collectible at this point. Love the knife, though. But I'm paired up. And, you know, and this will transition into weight. These two knives together, I don't know exactly, but I think they weigh less than this. The weight's not super critical to me, but it is something. I consider it. I think more EDC, we're talking philosophy of use here, is the size of the blade. It's just a very large blade to manipulate and do, you know, delicate tasks with. We'll leave it at that. The weight on this, I think, for the large and broad, it's very broad this way, so it can shear cut amazingly. 6.2 ounces, that's a good weight for as big and broad as the blade is on the Spyderco K2. Love the blade shape, by the way. I really do. Good looking blade. About 10 inches overall length. And some guys may rave about how big the K2 is. Oh, it's such a big blade. I already showed you that Voyager, right? I like just being honest, and let's keep it like in perspective. This is a XL though. This one here, Tanto XL, new design. It dwarfs. I wouldn't say dwarf, but it's a lot larger than the K2. But here comes a large one. I think this is large. Like that. That's more in line. Yeah. That's to me, I don't know. This is kind of a can-do everything blade. Tactical blade and EDC blade. It kind of fills both roles. Even though the blade really isn't that much smaller than the K2, but it just, to me, seems more maneuverable. Notice, by the way, in the philosophy of use discussion, I didn't really say tactical blade, defensive blade. I know, we're all getting so sick of that tactical. I am too. It's just old. It's so many guys just abuse it. Hey, Nathan, you brought it into play. I know. I'm trying to use it less. Defensive knife. Let's just say that. I just don't. It definitely has good reach. It's got a large handle. But I just think, as we'll see in ergonomics, traction is kind of lacking a little bit. Yeah. But it is a large knife, but there are other larger knives. Usually going to be from our friends at Cold Steel. There you go. Blade steel. CPM 10V. I have not hard tested that steel. Still, I don't know if I ever will. It's supposedly really wear resistant. Has almost 10% vanadium in it that gives it a tremendous edge retention. Toughness. Like it will outcut a lot of other steels type thing, like S30V, VG10. Cuts like M2, they say. But it's a powdered metallurgy steel. Fine grain structure, even distribution of carbides, all that stuff. I don't know a ton about it, but I like what I know about it to this point. I think the option in this particular version of K2 of using CPM 10V is what is adding cost to the blade. I don't think the steel is that cheap, from what I know. How about the blade shape from this angle? Nice tip, nice upsweep. Again, I just love the FFG on it. I like this portion too, for consistent angle sharpening, like an Edge Pro Apex. That's how I do it. Edge out of box, pretty stellar. That CPM 10V, by the way, might be a bugger to sharpen, if that's important to you. It should be, by the way. But judging from what I do on my gear checks with you guys, you don't sharpen your knives anyhow. Seriously, you don't. The knives you pull out of your pockets are almost always dull. Or it's a factory edge that has never been resharpened. How about speed on the K2? How about excellent? Good sound as it deploys too. Pinch deployment, easy. Although with the big blade, I just don't know if it's the best option. It's just too much mass. This whole handle swinging down. Here's what I'm talking about. So I'm zoom out just a little bit here. So I'm going to pinch deploy it like that. It's too much. You know, it's a 6-ounce knife. Just a standard deployment's good. Great lockup. There's a timing on the RIL. I call it frame lock. Spyderco, correctly calls it the Reeve integral lock. It does not have a steel insert here. I always wish a frame lock uses that because this handle material, titanium, it's probably 6AL 4V. 6% aluminum, 4% vanadium. It's very common in the knife industry. It's heat treatable. That's why they use it. They can work with it. I still would like a steel inset right here, especially at the price point this knife is coming at. It does have a lock bar stabilizer down here, internal, and I really like that, meaning you cannot hyperextend the lock bar. I still in the habit of doing this. You'll see me still do that. Pretty much on all the knives I review, especially if it's a loaner. I definitely don't want to damage a knife from dude. A little bit of decoration here. Some guys make a big deal about that scalloping there. It's cool. I think Fareed does that on some of his other knives, I believe. stop pin right here. Standard phosphor bronze bushings there. So no ball bearing system in this knife. Good looking blade. How about the first up? Centering. And this is really important for a large knife. Retention. The detent. It's about right. Let me see if I gotta do this off camera though. I can kind of shake it out. You know, not super readily. Handle. This is kind of where I said not a defensive blade. First up, as you can tell, there's no traction plan on the exterior. It's smooth titanium. We've seen that in a lot of other Spyderco designs, but mostly EDC designs. I think when you get a knife like this large, it should have some traction on it. And that's kind of where my reservation, you know, remains with this knife about purchasing it. I'm like, large blade, capable in a defensive role for sure, but where's my traction? You know, I have a rounded, it looks good, it's stylish, a rounded spine here on the thumb ramp, absolutely no jimping there. I've got a kind of a shallow, I think Spyderco says it's a deep, no finger guard. I don't see it that way. This is a deep finger guard. Well, look at that, dude. That's why this is a tactical blade, and plus it's got excellent traction on the side. The Voyager shears. I mean, that works for me. This, I'm just not seeing it. I mean, it's not there. It's kind of got some squared shoulders on here. The handle's really good looking. It is comfortable. I like that it's long enough for large size hands. You can adjust the blade, by the way, if you needed to. Forgot to mention that. I don't know. I love the pillar construction, the simplicity, like I mentioned earlier. I love how thin it is. Carries in pocket just perfectly. It's got kind of a spherical spacer right here, lanyard hole right there. So the execution in terms of looks, collectability, and just elegance, thumbs up, dude. I'm all over that. Tactical, there's that word again. I'm not there. Not sold at all. In fact, ergonomics, I think, are a little bit lacking for that. Now, if you're cutting carpet with your K2, I don't think you'll care that much. Maybe you will, though, because, I mean, I kind of want to have something there to stop my thumb. Not every knife has to be jimped, but, I mean, when you get a large knife like this, 4.5-inch blade, you kind of got to ask yourself, what's the job of the knife? What's it for? Clip design. This is kind of another thing that I kind of look at and I just scratch my head and go, why? It's tip down, which I usually loathe. I do. Some knives it makes sense, and I will say in pocket, the K2 carries nice tip down because of this. How it's rounded, you don't have a ton of knife sticking out. And Spyderco in the write-up acts like, and by the way, they've started doing this, putting a really cool inset in, like a flyer in every knife. I'm so glad they're doing that. Here's one right here. See that? That is so cool. Good job, Spyderco. Tells all about the knife, the features of the knife, you know, how to do certain things with a knife. This is cool. This is what I want to get as a knife buyer. You know, not nothing. I want to open up the box and see this. Well done. But they kind of intimate that, oh, it's perfect, you know, for fast deployment. When I take it out, tip down, I have to actually rotate the knife unless I'm pinch deploying, which, like I said, for this large knife, you can do it. You know, guys are a lot better at deploying than I am. I'm a goof when it comes to that. But I'm pretty good at a standard. I'm fast at that. That's kind of what I do. I rotate it around for a standard deployment. Extract like this, now I've got to rotate it like that, now I can deploy. It's just me. I would have loved to have a 4-way clip and a wire clip, the Spyderco wire clip. I would be probably buying this knife even without the jimping if they had that. But no, it's one side only, tip down. Hope you like it. There you go. And it's polished clip. I don't like that either. I think it should be bead blasted, match the handle. It would give it kind of a custom look to it. That being said, I think durability of the knife should be great. I'm totally not sold on frame locks as far as being the most durable knife out there. I've thumped and broken several in my testing of all different brands. I'm just not sold. You want to have that level of abuse coming to your folder, you need to run a fixed blade. Like I've always said. Value. Not a cheap knife. And it's made in Taiwan. So, you know, you'll have to decide if that's something that bugs you don't like. It's $225-ish. Upper portion of the screen is where I recommend to buy it. That is the cheapest and most supportive of TMP place I can find. There you go. Back to the question, would I buy it? I'm being totally honest with you guys too. Totally. It's a lot of money just to have it as a cast member. You know, I'll just roll in the video. The answer is probably no. Because of the clip and because there's no traction on this very large blade. If you would have jimped that top spine, 4-way positionable wire clip that is like on the Sage here. Bead blasted, by the way, just like they did on the new Sills Bowie knife. I'd buy it. Competitive options are going to be much less expensive and actually in the role of defensive knife, far superior, if you ask me. There you go. Talked about the deep finger guard. This is a very lightweight knife for as strong as it is. This is a triad lock too. I mean, dude, I have thumped on triad locks and they don't fail. Nor is there any wiggle. I mean, that Recon 1, this one here, like I'm talking about, this is the knife right here. You know, a little bit of pivot movement here. Up and down, nothing. It's a great lock mechanism. The Recon 1 is such a great knife. And there's another large knife I want to review, so I don't want to bring them all on the table. There's another one. How about the Spyderco Resilience? Even though it's kind of a out-of-class comparison, because this is kind of an upscale, high-end knife. The Resilience, such a great knife. I'm so glad they finally made, I mean, this was years ago, a larger version of the Tenacious. That's a great blade. And it's a large blade, much lighter than this one, incidentally. In case you're keeping track at home, you should be. I don't know if I have a weight written down for that. Yeah, I do. 5.2 ounces. So it's an ounce lighter. Flat ground, 8CR 13 MOV. So the steel comparison between twos, it's different universes. I think we understand that. I could throw a whole bunch of other knives on the table, like the Code 4. That may or may not be as cool in a lot of people's minds, may or may not have the same utility. In my mind, this is a collectible, primarily. Would I carry it every day? Honestly, probably not, no. You know, it's too big for EDC. No traction for, you know, real defensive use, says me. I could do things to help it out. I mean, I could jimp it myself right here. But do I want to do that on a $220 knife? I think a $220 knife should be squared away. I mean, it should be perfect. You should just be checking off the boxes. Yep, has that. Yep, has that. Yep, has that. For your use and your way of perceiving stuff. You know what I'm saying? And this does it in a large measure, the K2. I would say great job, Fareed. Really, great job. I mean, this is a beautiful knife. But I cannot max it on my likability scale because there's some big misses for me. But I think they're going to sell this and sell it well. I think it'll be around a while. I would like to see a different version, you know, with the feature that I like, but I don't think it'll happen. There you go. You know, not worth much. It's the worth of price admission, which is free. Last time I checked. I provide the videos free of charge. That's my review. K2, Spyderco, out.